All right, well, we wanted to talk a little bit about Olympic hockey here. What? May? Olympic hockey? Yes, it's less than a year away, of course, and there are some intriguing storylines. We just came off of the World Championships, and we saw Montreal Canadiens youngster Alex Galchenyuk score a couple of key goals for Team USA in the bronze medal game, and so
in the shootouts.
Started to think about what will happen come next February. As it's not official, I don't believe. They're still negotiating, but it does look like the NHL players will be in February playing at the Olympic Games in Sochi. So we started to wonder about some of the storylines. Stefano, you were looking into some of the interesting aspects of next year's hockey at the Olympic level.
Right, well, obviously, who would be on Team Canada and compared to 2010, and who would return to Team Canada in 2014, and obviously you would see a lot of new faces given the fact that we have seen a lot of new stars emerge in the last 4 years.
Is Rob Zaminer going to be on that 2014 team?
Maybe Shane Corson.
Yeah.
Corson can make that team.
Yep.
Well, I mean, there is, of course, obviously there will be Crosby, Giroux, Taves, and Stamkos, but some of the other names I was looking at on the fringe, perhaps, maybe a Milan Lucic if you want a big body, a big bruiser going around like the other teams. But then you look at a guy like, it's really hard to make room for him with Tavares emerging now, and you would think Logan Couture even would
bigger
probably
ice,
be...
it's harder to justify taking a physical guy, right? A guy who maybe doesn't skate as well as some of the others.
Right, given the fact that it's in Russia this time, not in Vancouver like last time.
Right, yeah.
And of course, some people have mentioned perhaps Jordan Eberle, but given I still don't know if he has done enough to warrant him getting the nod over guys like Couture or even Bergeron. I mean, Bergeron, his play this year has been phenomenal
absolutely.
for the Boston Bruins. Just a great player all around. Can kill penalties, can take a key face-off, and can even score goals.
It's between Bergeron and Chara who the MVP really is of that team, and I can't argue for a reason not to have Bergeron on that team. And the other guy you just mentioned as well,
Couture,
thank you. We've talked about at length about his prowess right now with the San Jose Sharks. It would be hard to see a team without him on there. He can do so many different things.
Right, then you'll look guys who were on the team last time, like Mike Richards, Rick Nash, but then again, I mean, the last
I would
couple
pass
years,
on a Rick Nash. You talk about some of these other guys, yeah. Mo, with Rick Nash?
I think Rick Nash, look, he did not have a strong season this year, and of course they're going to base it on who's hot at that time of year. They will announce the Olympic team, I believe, in late November into December, about a month and a half before the Olympic Games in Sochi. But you look at this team and what composition they can have. You mentioned Milan Lucic. I don't think, and we can all agree to this, he doesn't fit that international ice level size that they'll play on in Russia. Logan Couture, I think, makes this team. You look at goaltending, I think that's going to be the key issue is who was your three goaltenders, who was the number one goaltender. If you're making a comparison to, say, Team USA, which is deep, they can go Jonathan Quick, they can go Ryan Miller,
I'll tell
Craig
you,
Anderson.
Absolutely, I agree with you. It's sort of been on its head now. It's been turned around where Canada used to have such a wide margin in terms of goaltending depth. And people are disappointed in what Carey Price is doing, and certainly Martin Brodeur is getting older. I think that Roberto Luongo and Corey Schneider have to be considered in the mix. I'd rather Luongo. He's got the experience, certainly. But I like a guy who had some injury problems this year. If he has any kind of great start to the year in the NHL in October and November, I don't see a reason why Cam Ward cannot be in the mix here. This is a guy that's routinely underestimated in terms of how good he is. Winning a cup so young, a couple of down years, and then they had one good run to the conference finals a couple of years ago. I think that Cam Ward should be in that mix.
It's tough to say because, again, do you take the hottest goaltender or you take the one who has a history of playing with Canada? I mean, look, Roberto Luongo has a history. He's won the World Cup. He's won a gold medal in 2010. He knows what it takes to win at this level of international hockey. Or would you rather go with a guy like Carey Price, who has won a gold medal with the World Junior team in 2006, 2007, and go with that potential? Or do you take the hottest goaltender at that time? It could be Marc-Andre Fleury. It could be Cam Ward. It could be someone else as well. But again, I mean, look at Team Canada and where their issues are. I think their forwards are deep, defense is deep, but goaltending could be the Achilles heel. And again, we've seen this type of Olympic-style structure. In 1998, Hasek won it for the Czech Republic. 2002, Brodeur came in for Cujo. They won gold. 2006, Sweden won, albeit though they had some strong goaltending. Then 2010, Luongo was phenomenal in helping Canada win gold.
You would have to think that Carey Price would have to get to a much better start next year rather than the finish he had this year and even the inconsistent play overall, you would think he would have to really look good going into the tournament, not just maybe to make the team, but if he wants to have a chance to be the number 2 goalie or the starter.
That's a fair point. And you look at so many of these goaltenders now are American. Jonathan Quick, Craig Anderson, Schneider. Rather, that's right. That Schneider is American, and certainly Ryan Miller. And so the depth for Canada is relegated right now to Luongo, to Cam Ward, and we mentioned Carey Price. I don't think Carey Price should be in the mix right now based on what we've seen over the last few months. He's got, like you said, he's got to get hot. Got to get hot to be considered. And to me, you have to consider Luongo and Cam Ward right now.
And Team USA won the bronze in the World Hockey Championships, which will go a long way. Of course, the point system and where you're positioned in the pool groups in the initial round of the Olympic qualification could definitely be a big impact, because Canada did not win a medal for the 4th year in a row in the quarterfinals and losing 4 years in a row in that phase of the tournament here. But you look at Team USA, though, Matt, Galchenyuk, if he makes the team, does Seth Jones, who could be the potential number 1 pick in this year's draft, does he make the team a la Drew Doughty when he was a part of the Olympic squad in 2010?
Yeah, that's. I mean, I don't even know how to grade that. You haven't even seen him in a training camp, right? So it's hard to see what you would get out of him at the professional level or at the Olympic level, I should say, with the senior team. But just back to the Canadian equation for a moment. I don't know if it's such an Achilles heel. I think people are sort of, fine, we'll go with Luongo. I mean, is it really such an awful thing? Fine, Cam Ward. I mean, these guys can catch fire. Don't rule out one guy, I'm about to say, and we don't know where he'll play this fall, but if he has a good couple of months, he can get hot and he can get on that radar. And we saw what he did last year in the postseason. What about a guy like Mike Smith? I don't think that people can completely rule out Mike Smith as being maybe one of those 3 goaltenders.
Injuries,
and certainly we saw Brizgalov really do well in Dave Tippett's system in Phoenix. I think Mike Smith would have to prove himself with another team, maybe a team that's not as defensively sound. And if he does that in the fall, I think he definitely has to be considered.
Game points here on TSN 690. You mentioned the U.S. and obviously the embarrassment of riches and nets. There's no doubt about that. But where else on that blue line are they deep? Or rather, where else on that lineup are they deep? And what does the blue line look like? We know some of the big names. Suter, got to be the biggest name that they have on their blue line right now.
Well, you think Jack Johnson as well would be there. Keith Yandel, very solid for the Coyotes. Dustin Byfuglien, you wonder if he's going to play defense or offense for Team USA. Certainly capable of playing both, depending on where they need him. And then as well, Brooks Orpik, a very physical defenseman. John Carlson.
Eric Johnson as well.
That's right. So, I mean, obviously goaltending seems to be the biggest advantage for the United States, but you have a Norris candidate right there off the bat, and that's a pretty good start for them.
Speaking of the Norris, Team Sweden just won the World Championships, and we know what kind of depth that they have. I think that's a team that's going to be interesting to watch in nets. I mean, who did they go with in this tournament? Was it Enroth? I think it was.
Yeah.
I believe Lehner was in nets today.
They had Lehner today. Yeah. So, that's going to be a team to watch as well, kind of a wild card.
But the question is, do you take them over Luongo? I still think for international play, Luongo's proven he's justified why he's one of the better goaltenders out there.
All right, as we go to break here, this coming in from Game Points with Matthew Ross, the name of the Facebook group. From Christos Klukinis. Now, I don't know if this requires a drum roll. I don't know if this is him trying to make us laugh. How about putting James Reimer in the mix for Canada?
Hey, he had a strong playoff run. If he's able to parlay that into next year, October, November, December, where they will evaluate all the players. Remember, they do have the camp in August, so they will have the eval camp.
James Reimer?
Why not, Matt? I mean, look, who cares if he plays for Toronto? As long as he helps Canada win gold or attempt to win gold, that's what matters most.
I'm sure it can help Canada attempt to win gold.
Sidney Crosby, Drew Doughty, James Reimer. I don't know.